I didn't see you come in there. All right. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I hope everyone's going to have a good time with their families, doing the whole thing, eating lots of food. You know what's up. But that doesn't mean things stop over here in Marcel land. That's right. I keep teaching bluegrass guitar throughout all the holidays. And for that reason, I do have to tell you about a couple cool deals that are going on at lessonswithmarcel.com. Number one, there is a cool shirt. It's kind of a vintage design inspired by a Church Street blues lyric that references a certain string. There is also a deal where if you buy 4 Skype lessons, you get $40 off, which means one of those lessons is free. But this video isn't an ad. Today we're working on Tony's break for Old Train. This track appears on the 1979 album Manzanita. I've already made 2 videos on how to play the title track from that record, so check those out if you're interested in playing that or some of the history of the record. But today is all Old Train, baby. So cool, let's listen to the break, then we'll break it down first, thinking about what chords, scales, and arpeggios Tony's using, and then we'll go through the tabs section by section and make sure it all makes sense. Got it? Good, let's do it. All right, the opening break has kind of a turnaround feel to it. Tony could have played over a longer form, but instead he kind of just takes one pass through these chords. Those chords are D, followed by C, sometimes played as D with C in the bass, and then we have G, we got A, and it goes back to D. Nothing should come as a big shock there. Tony holds on pretty closely to all of those chords, and when he's improvising, he mostly plays out of their respective pentatonic shapes. So let's take a look at those open pentatonic shapes. Tony spends some time in the open D major pentatonic shape. This might look familiar to you as shape 3. The only problem is we actually don't have enough room on our G string to reach that F sharp note, so it ends up on the D string, which makes this shape a little bit awkward because you have 3 notes on a string when we're used to only having 2 notes on every string when we play pentatonic. Not too big of a deal, we'll survive. The next shape is the C major pentatonic scale. Nice and easy, no weirdness here. After that, we go to the G major pentatonic that I know you all know. Followed by the A major pentatonic shape, which has to be a little up the neck because there isn't great access for an open string pentatonic shape in A. And that's it. If you know all of those, this break will make a lot of sense to you. One last quick thing that we should look at is a D major arpeggio. This song starts off with a variation of this arpeggio pattern, and if you want to get into Tony's mind a little, it'll help if you understand that these are all notes in a D major chord. All right, cool. So that's all the basic chords, arpeggios, and scales that we need to know. Let's go ahead and look at the tab and see how Tony Rice assembles all of those things and makes them make sense. So right here I am looking at the tab. You can see that it starts with something that looks very similar to the arpeggio shape that we just learned. So let's look at that. Now, if we just descended our arpeggio shape like we did earlier, it would sound like this. When Tony plays his opening line, it sounds like this. He added one note, he added the 4th, so it feels a little more diatonic as we start, and then he goes to the full arpeggio sound, but instead of ending on his open D string, he ends an octave up on this D note. We get a pickup moving into the next measure, so we have 3 notes before we actually start the next measure. And this is something that's interesting about the break. It seems like a couple notes before every chord change, Tony is hinting at the next new chord. We're playing over D, we should be thinking mostly D major pentatonic, and that's what Tony's done so far with the arpeggio. But instead we get this line, which feels very much like it's more in the C major camp, which is the chord that we're about to move into. He's kind of preemptively shifting his tonal center. So let's ignore that last note for a second. I want to point out something that Tony does a lot in this song, and that's playing the minor third to the major third. I bring this up a lot when we talk about improvising because it happens everywhere, and I think it's really useful for players who are starting to improvise and learn bluegrass breaks to start recognizing those moments. So the first two notes in that C measure are E flat and E. We know a little bit of music theory. We know that a C chord is built out of the notes C, E, and G. That's 1, 3, and 5. The third is the middle note. That's an E note. So by playing E flat into E natural, we're playing the minor third into the major third. And we're going to see Tony do that some more over some of the other chords. Cool. So as we get to the end of the C measure, we get this weird note. Why would Tony use that note instead of this note, which feels so much better? Because he's hinting at the next chord again. Once again, we're switching to a G chord, and this note is in the G major pentatonic. It also happens to be the third of a G chord. But yeah, he's preemptively moving to a new chord, just like before. Now we play our G line. Once again, those notes feel kind of weird. Why would he do that? Well, he's actually playing the minor third to the major third over an A chord. See, an A chord is built out of A, C sharp, and E, so moving from C natural to C sharp would be doing the minor third to the major third, and here's C natural to C sharp, minor third to major third. The A measure sounds like this. All right, cool. Now we have a neat ending line that feels very Tony Rice. It sounds like this. The second note of this first measure over the D chord is this. Whoa, that doesn't sound pentatonic, right? Our pentatonic scale would go like this. Oh, where did that note come from then? So this is an interesting thing. This is a really good example of the inclusion of blue notes. The idea is you have a D major pentatonic and you have a D minor pentatonic. So we have a bluesy option, we have a major option. This sounds very much bluesy, so we know that it's probably got some of the notes from the D minor pentatonic in it. D major pentatonic will of course have the root, which is D. It'll also have the fifth, which is A. Now the D major pentatonic and the D minor pentatonic both have the root in the fifth, which means that they have three notes that define major over here, and then three notes that define minor over here, because they both already have D and A. They're 5-note scales, so what are those other three notes in both of the scales? On the major one, we have E, which is our second or ninth. Then we also have F sharp, which is the major third. And then we have B, which is the sixth. All of those are very major sounding options. Now in the D minor pentatonic, we have more minor sounding options. For instance, we have the minor third, we have the dominant seventh, and we have the fourth. So what does that mean? Well, we get to the end here, the second line, and we can see that Tony is using the root, the fifth, the dominant seventh, the minor third, and the fourth. In fact, one of the only notes that he's using that is not minor pentatonic is the major third, because he keeps sliding from the minor third to the major third. So I would look at this last line, this last section over the D chord, as really D minor pentatonic, but he's including the major third. All right, hopefully this break makes a little more sense to you. To finish here, take a listen to the full break, try to spot everything that we talked about. And when you're done with the video, please check my website, lessonswithmarcel.com. There should be a link in the description. You should be able to get this tab for free. All right, if you like taking a lesson from the biggest, baddest Billy Goat in the barnyard, please check out all the other videos in this channel. There's a lot of really interesting bluegrass guitar related stuff. And you can hit that subscribe button if you want the one guy who keeps disliking my videos to stop. Seriously, what's up, dude? Man, how you doing? Just one dislike on so many videos. Who are you, man? Let's do a video together. Oh, and hey, got a favorite guitar break you want the music for? You want me to tab it out? You want me to transcribe it? That is great. I will do that. Please just send it my way. My prices are crazy cheap, and it's an easy gift for loved ones. Hey, got a guitar player in your life? Buy him a tab. Anyway, I'll see you guys in 2019.
From the mountains cold, we ring them bells at the crossroads. The valley below, my love was running from town. That midnight train